Hey guys, hope all is well. We're going to get right into it today. Customer just dropped off this 2003 minivan. Actually has handicap access, which is really nice if that's something you're looking for. He is planning on reselling it. I think it's got like 85,000 miles. It's been sitting under some trees for a while, and I don't think it's had a bath in a while. So it's got black stuff all over the roof, all the jams, all the cracks and crevices are full. Headlights need clean, just your basic resale detail. I do have a certain amount of time to do this one, so I kind of got to pick and choose what I think stands out to someone that might be interesting in purchasing it. But I almost guarantee that I'm going to go over the time that I estimated already. Typically on minivans, I always usually underestimate. As usual, I'll start with all the prep work. We'll start with the wheels and tires, just using the typical Stoner all-purpose cleaner on the tires with the Tough Shine brush. Give them a good scrub and then just rinse them off once you got them all scrubbed. For the wheels, I'm actually going to try out a wheel acid. I use it for aluminum trailers, and I use it for some occasional wheels. I just recommend not trying it if you're not familiar with using acid on wheels. You can't use them on every single wheel, but once in a while you get these hubcaps in, or maybe a chrome wheel that's like already shot, has never been cleaned. It comes in really handy for like really dirty wheels that it's safe to use on. But I wouldn't recommend it if you've never used acid before. I definitely would do a little research before you get into using any kind of wheel acid on a wheel. Worked pretty good on these. After I did the wheel acid, there was still a little bit of dirt, as you can see here. I knew I wouldn't get it all off, so I just tried another round of acid to see if I could get it off, cleaning it a second time, and it still didn't really do the job that I was looking for. So then I went right to the iron remover. This was the first wheel I cleaned. Sometimes it takes a couple different things to try out, and the iron remover really worked really well after the acid removing some of that black stuff. Perfect? No, not perfect, but definitely a lot better than it was. Just agitate the iron remover, get it all clean, and then go ahead and rinse it off once you got it all agitated. I do use the iron remover a lot on wheels. Typically, I'll go with the Car Pro or the Geon brand, just because it seems to work a little bit faster, and that's kind of what we found to work the best. As you can see here, it's not perfect. There's some paint missing. We did not do that. The paint was already missing. And then we'll move on to the wheel wells. Same thing. Clean it with the all-purpose Stoner all-purpose cleaner, and just pressure wash them out. If you want to get in there with a brush, you're more than welcome to. But typically, just a good pressure wash with the all-purpose will work good. And then I'm going to do the engine bay, so I want to make sure I disconnect the battery before I kind of make any water mess in the engine bay. You want to be careful. You don't need a whole lot of pressure. Blow out before you get anything wet. Blow it out with an air gun. It's a lot easier to get them loose, dry debris before you get everything wet. Here I just got the water pressure even turned down on the hose, pre-rinsing everything, even pre-rinsing the fenders, the front bumper. That way, in case any kind of all-purpose drips on that, you don't run into any streaking. The most important thing is don't let the all-purpose dry onto anything. You might have to go back and spray it with more all-purpose while you're detailing it. But I'm just agitating it here with the boar's hair brush. No need to get out the pressure washer. This is a 2003, I believe, van. So the older the vehicle, the more you got to be careful. You don't want to send the customer home with a check engine light or something go wrong. There is some older vehicles that we get in that we do not use the hose or any kind of water for the engine bay detail. We usually use like a steam cleaner or the Tornador, or just a brush and towels and a little bit of air. But yeah, kind of use at your own preference. Don't try something if you're not real comfortable. Newer vehicles are definitely a lot safer to clean the engine bay than some of these older vehicles. And there's a customer coming in for an estimate. Didn't realize the camera was there. And then once you get it all agitated, just rinse it off. Light rinse. If you want to blow dry it off, you could after you do this, because there is some cracks and crevices that hold a little bit of water. I just usually hit them with the air compressor. More prep work. Usually I hit the jams. These are pretty dirty, so I'll lightly mist it with water as a pre-soak, hit it with the all-purpose cleaner, and then agitate everything with my boar's hair brush. And once you get everything agitated, same as the engine bay, then just rinse it off with your water. It's always a good idea to keep the water pressure down. As you can see here, I'm just kind of kinking the hose that way it doesn't fly out into the inside of the vehicle, because it's never good getting the carpet all wet. Now I did do the outside first. I usually do the inside first, but it was a really hot day, and I just didn't feel like doing the interior this day. And I knew the door jambs needed a little bit more love, so if a little bit of dirt flies into the inside of the vehicle, it's no big deal since I still have to detail it later. Just cleaning these door jambs. A lot of water was actually getting trapped in that lower part. I guess these things actually rust out a little bit down there because it holds so much water. So once I rinse everything off here, I'll have to come back through with the shop vac and just suck some water out of that bottom area, as you can see I'm doing here. This won't be the only time that I touch the door jambs. I'll actually come back after I wash the whole vehicle and come back through and wipe them down again. This is just trying to get the heavy stuff. That way when you come back with your towels or quick detailer or whatever you want to use as a protectant or a quick detailer for the door jambs, you don't have to get out quite as much dirt. Then get the fuel door, the rear hatch. The rear hatch was really dirty in this thing. You know, all the same steps, using the boar's hair brush, all-purpose cleaner, and water. All the prep work is pretty basic, but it does take, I think it takes longer to do all this prep work than it does to actually wash the exterior of the vehicle in most cases. But it makes the detail a lot nicer. Do you have to do this every time you wash your car? No, definitely not. I definitely wouldn't recommend it. But once, twice a year, get all these jams really, really clean. Or if you're detailing for a living, you want to make sure your customer goes home with nice clean jams. Engine compartment can kind of go either way. Some people get it done, some people don't. But for a resale detail, jams and engine compartment are very, very important, in my opinion. And then after agitated, rinse off again. It's a lot of the same steps. Just with rear hatches, you want to be careful not to soak the whole interior. And finally, ready to wash. I'm just pre-soaking everything. Every single little crack and crevice on the outside of this vehicle has like mold, dirt, just from sitting in the woods, I guess. Every little crack and crevice has something in it. So I'm just hitting it with my boar's hair brush and actually using that same diluted magic cleaner from Detail King. Would you want to use this on a brand new black vehicle with the boar's hair brush? It is soft, but I probably wouldn't recommend using it. It could lightly micro scratch the paint. This thing's already pretty scratched up, and I didn't want to use a pressure washer in the cracks, which sometimes I'll do. But this thing has some age and the paint's not in the best shape. I'd be afraid if I did use a pressure washer, it could lift in a couple areas, and you're better to be safe than sorry. And after I got this whole vehicle done, it didn't seem to scratch anything at all. That brush, boar's hair brush, is super soft. It's just you still got to use common sense. Certain vehicles use the pressure washer, certain vehicles use a nice soft brush. Just do what you got to do. But this is definitely time consuming, getting in all these cracks and crevices, but it makes the wash so much easier. The roof on this thing is really bad. I don't know. I don't know if it was actually ever washed. So as you can see here, it's like permanently black, and it's actually not washing off with just regular soap and water. I did have to use some kind of all-purpose cleaner, and I'm using the diluted Magic Clean. And my general microfiber towels, which you can see are getting black. I didn't want to use my wash mitt because we typically use new wash mitts for all our vehicles, and I figured this van would just ruin the wash mitts. And the paint, like I said, the paint isn't in the greatest shape. So there you can see I did the whole front. The back half isn't done yet. Uh, this stuff, the Magic Cleaner is safe to use on paint. You just want to make sure you follow the dilution ratio and don't let any product dry onto the surfaces. Then I'll just go around and clean every crack and crevice, including the grill, around the headlights, the rear hatch. I couldn't get the license plate off this vehicle, so I had to work around that. It seemed like it was rusted on pretty good, and I didn't want to run the risk of snapping the bolts. As you can see here, using the same process for the hood. The hood and the roof were about the same, so I used the Magic Cleaner on this hood as well, just with my typical microfiber towels. As you can see here, it's working pretty good. I didn't get everything off, and I didn't want to sit there and scrub it like crazy. So later I'll come back and clay bar everything to get off anything that the Magic Cleaner didn't. You're probably wondering why I just didn't clay the whole vehicle, all the black stuff on the roof and hood, right off the get-go, but all that black stuff would have ruined all the clay. I probably would have used $30 in clay just to get all that black stuff off, and it probably would have actually scratched it up more than actually using this method. And I'm going through, just washing the whole thing finally, just with the microfiber towels, working my way from top to bottom. No special technique here. I'm still using the 2 bucket wash method. Is it really necessary? No, but it is nice to have a couple buckets of water. And then finally, just going to clay. I'm only going to clay the top, this front hood, and then the roof. The rest of the vehicle actually isn't too bad with the fallout from the trees. And then I rinse off all that from claying, and then I'm going to hit it actually with the Bathe Plus. We don't have time or a budget for any kind of wax or paint protection, so I'm going to foam it up with the Bathe Plus. As you can see here, that's before Bathe Plus, and then I'll go through and foam everything up with the Geon Bathe Plus, and we'll kind of see how it beads up afterwards. Here I'm just foaming it all up with Geon Bathe. This stuff actually doesn't foam up usually that well, but for some reason this time it did foam up pretty well. And then I'll just go through and rinse all the Geon foam off. And it'll bead up fairly well. It'll make it a lot easier to blow off with the air compressor. That way I don't have to sit there and towel dry everything. And zoom in here and we'll see how it beads up after Bathe Plus. Works pretty good for a car soap with an additive. And then gum pack through, hit the door jambs a second time because they'll be kind of wet. And then there will be areas that you couldn't get with the brush and hose, like probably like above my waist. I usually don't hit that with the hose because it kind of makes a mess on the inside. And I'll just go through, clean everything, wipe all the door jambs, get anything that I missed. And throughout this whole process, these headlights were driving me crazy. The customer said don't worry about them, but I thought it would definitely help with resale. Just using my big DA with 1500 here, and then I'll hit it with 3000, and then machine compound it out. They're not perfect. I didn't spend all day on them. I just spent probably 5 minutes of light just to get them a little bit better than what they are. And I think it'll definitely help with resale. Using my bigger DA, I definitely want to get like a small 3-inch. Sometime in the future. Just using a 3-inch pad with Manzurna 400, and it'll get them good enough. Are they perfect? No, not. They're not even close to perfect. But when the customer picks up, we'll definitely be happy.